Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last several years, we've been focusing our energies on les filles du roi and les filles mariées. Today, we bring you les filles mariées, the marriageable girls. I started this series about a year after I had started the King's Daughters because I wanted to get to know, even the before the King's Daughters, who was there? Where are these people that came before? And les filles mariées do not disappoint. So please be with me as we follow another Fille Mariée, episode 94. We're getting to that 100 mark. And before I let you go, make sure you subscribe, like, and notify. All of that helps my logarithms. You'd be surprised. And obviously, if you're interested, there's always Patreon, which is an external platform. And I also have a platform on Coffee. And I also have a platform on my website, Have Roots Will Travel. Please, if you care to, please support the channel. With that being said, let's get started. I'd like to talk a little bit about les filles à marier, the marriageable girls, because they're less known than les filles du roi, and they often get mistaken for them. Les filles à marier is a group of women, about 262, that came between 1634 and 1662. They did not come in groups. Many times they came one at a time, couple at a time. It was not a program. They did not receive any dowry or money or that sort of thing. They came because they wanted a new life, and it was understood that they would marry. But basically, they were coming to a land, especially the ones in the 1630s, they were coming to a land where, honestly, civilization had not yet reached it. Because we have Quebec City that was founded in 1608. Trois-Rivières was founded in 1634. Montreal wasn't even there until 1642. So these ladies are incredible, and their stories are incredible, and the amount of descendants they have is incredible. So I really, really wanted to explore this because this is, if the Filles du Roi are the founding mothers of Quebec, these truly are the founding grandmothers. And many of our trees and our ancestry link up to these phenomenal women. So let's get to know one of them today. Fille mariée that we will be featuring today on episode 94, Marie Vier, dite Lamothe. And she is a viewer request. I did not have her in my files, so let's get to know Marie a little bit better. So Marie was born in 1643 in Paris, France. Her parents were Robert Vier and Saint Bonnet. She comes to us from the Catholic Parish Church of Saint Nicolas des Champs, that is pictured there, was built in the 15th century, and it's located at the Rue Saint-Martin in the 3rd arrondissement of Paris. This current church was built between 1420 and 1480 and was enlarged in the 16th and early 17th century. Now, she was born, as we've talked about, in the 3rd arrondissement, which, as you can tell, Paris is laid out in circles. She is part of that 3rd section, if you will. And it's referred to as Temple or Temple. This sector dates back to the Middle Ages, and it is actually the second smallest of Paris's sections or arrondissements. Among the notable facts about this sector is that you can, and this is definitely on my bucket list, is here where you can find the oldest surviving private house in Paris, built in 1407. Imagine that that house stood when she was a small child. I love to think of that, and I must one day see this house. There's also an ancient Jewish quarter which dates back from the 13th century, and it's an important part of the Jewish history of Paris, in case any of you want to explore that. To New France in 1659. She was following in the footsteps of her half-sister, Marguerite Breton, who we have not yet profiled, and following her footsteps would be her sister, Marie Sainte Via dite Lamothe, who would come and become a fille du roi. So, and I have put that we featured her in episode 141. So, and I put the link in the notes below for you to be able to access that as well. The groom that she would select and who selected her, his name, Hubert Simon de Lapointe. He was born in 1634 in a town called Tavernay, France. His parents were Guillaume Simon and Sébastien Doublé. I want to just share with you an experience I just had. The town of Tavernay, I had spelled it with an A. So I'm thinking I was in a completely different sector. I was just about to record it, and something told me to double check. So yes, indeed, just that additional A, Tavernay, puts it in a completely different place in the Bourgogne-Franche-Comté. So yeah, it is really challenging when you don't know a country. And I can only surmise, because I know Quebec and I know it, I rarely have, I mean, there are times when I go, okay, I don't know this particular place, but by and large I do. So it's one of those things where you really, really got to pay attention to the location, the history, logic, all of that, and verify, verify, verify when you're dealing with locations that you're unfamiliar with. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about Tavernay. It's located in the northwest suburbs of Paris, about 13 miles actually, and there are about 27,000 people that live there. The church of Notre Dame de Tavernay dates from the 12th century, and what I've uncovered is the name Tavernay comes from what you might think, tavern. While there are many indications of extremely early settlements here, in the 1990s they discovered a Gallo-Roman cellar from the first century, so it really confirmed it. And you can see by that it is very, very much a suburb, very much where people would live in the surroundings of Paris. Now, obviously, when Hubert was there in the 1600s, it didn't look like this. That would be too amazing to be able to see that. But you can get a feeling that he was living very close to Paris. And that gives us part of an understanding of him and his direction, if you will. So we find Hubert comes to New France as well. So Hubert and Marie would find each other and marry in Quebec City, November 27, 1659. They wasted no time. So Hubert and Marie, in their very first years, would settle at Quebec City, which, as we know, is the capital city of the province of Quebec inside the country of Canada. About 500,000 people live directly in Quebec City. It was originally named by the Algonquins, because the word Quebec in their native language meant where the river narrows, and Quebec City lies where the St. Lawrence River narrows. Samuel de Champlain founded a French settlement here in 1608, called it Ville de Quebec, or Quebec City. And it had city walls, which are still present. They're not all complete, but you can actually see the city walls, and it makes Quebec City the only city in North America with remaining city walls. There's so much to see in Quebec City, but I wanted to pick out two that I really, really liked. Maison Jacquet, which is the oldest surviving private residence in Quebec. It dates from 1675. I like to showcase this because you can actually walk in and have dinner here. So Aux Anciens Canadiens didn't get there this trip last year. It's absolutely on the bucket list. And then we have Le Champlain, which is I am told, is the oldest commercial district in North America. And so I have to think that it beats Boston and different places even in New York. So just to have, just kind of ponder that. How old is Quebec City? Now, the 1666 census, we have Hubert Simon, and they've gotten busy. They have Marianne, they have Pierre, they have Angelique, they have Guillaume, and then they have a domestic. They have an actual employee. And then by the 1667 census, which is only a year later, obviously, and many people ask me, why did they do a census the next year? The reason being is that there were so many errors in that first 1666 census, they ordered a new one taken. So sometimes you're lucky you're going to be able to see both of them. Hubert Simon is listed in the 1667 census. He is somehow aged by 10 years. He's now 33. Marie is 24. Marianne is 7. Pierre, 6. Jeanne Angélique. Guillaume and Jacques has come along. And they have 2 beasts, and they have 12 arpents, which is about 9 to 10 acres of land. In the 1670s, they did move just outside the city to Sillery, which is now one of the boroughs of Quebec City, but for well over 3 centuries, it was its own independent. By 2002, Sillery, along with many other small cities, was amalgamated into the larger region of Quebec City. Sillery, its history, was first established as Canada's first Indian reserve, and it was actually named Saint Joseph. And the money for establishing this first settlement was provided by Noël Boulard de Sillery. Unfortunately, the native population fell victim to disease and other issues, and the reserve failed. The town was eventually named Sillery in honor of its benefactor and would become an important player in Quebec's lumber industry. On the upper left of your screen is a picture of Sillery's riverfront. I've included the map where Sillery is to give you an idea and how it was amalgamated in 2002. On the bottom is the Jesuit house, the Maison des Jésuites de Sillery, and a fort was created here in the mid-1600s and would have been present during their time here, Hubert and Marie. But the actual building was burned and was burned down twice, and dates from, this particular one dates from 1703 and 1730. Between there is when it was rebuilt. If you look at the waterfront picture on the upper left, imagine that this is what they would have seen as they took a ship and would have sailed, or would have, obviously there were no roads, but I always love to go to the river's edge, because that really, on many levels, has remained intact, and how things would have looked to them. They would go on to have an astonishing 15 children. You heard it right, 15. Let's get to know them. We have Marianne, who married Louis Lavigne, and would have 7 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. Pierre married Anne-Jeanne Hardy and would have 10 children, 5 of whom would make it to adulthood. Anne's mother was Marie Poiré, a fille du roi whom we have not yet profiled. Marie-Angélique would marry Jean Jobin and would have 1 child who did make it. She then married Jacques Liberge and had 6 children, 2 of whom made it. Her third marriage to Jean Verrenault did not produce any children. Guillaume married Catherine Drouin and had 9 children, 7 of whom we made it to adulthood. Catherine's mother was Fille Marie Chapelier, whom we profiled in episode 65, and I've provided you the link. We have Jacques, we have no information on. Marie-Madeleine married Philippe Le Tourneau, but did not leave us any descendants. Agnes would marry Jean-Baptiste Guy and would have 11 children, 8 of whom survived, 7 of whom would leave descendants. Marie-Françoise would marry Etienne Godot and would have 2 children, both of whom survived, and then she would marry Charles Dille and would have 2 more children, both of whom did survive. Joseph would pass away after 1681. Ignace would pass away after 1681. Marguerite Françoise would die before the 1681 census. Augustin married 2 native women, but we do not have any traces of descendants. Marie-Louise, his twin, married Louis Mercier and would have 7 children, 7 of whom survived, all of whom, and 5 would leave us descendants. Anne would marry twice, but she married very late at 39, first marrying a surgeon, Charles Marion, and then to François Gatineau, who was 30 years her junior. To say she was a woman ahead of her time, marrying late, and then to such a younger man is putting it mildly. I love those kind of stories. She did not leave us any descendants. And then we have Charles, who also did not leave us any descendants. We have the 1681 census. We have Hubert and Marie. We have their children. Pierre, you can see that Marianne is already gone from the household. We have Jeanne, we have Guillaume, we have Jacques, Madeleine, Agnes, Françoise, Joseph, Ignace. What a big family. Louis and Augustin, they are twins. Jumeaux means twins. Jean have a domestic who's 54 years old. They have 2 guns, 2 horses, 8 bêtes à cornes, which are 8 goats or 8 horned animals of some kind, and 25 arpents, about 22 acres of land. I can't believe that Marie would pass away so quickly. She died at 40. She and Hubert were married 22 years, a very short amount of time, to be sure. But she left us with a tremendous gift. She left us with 204 descendants by 1729. Hubert would go on to live another 22 years, dying at the age of 70 in 1704. He never remarried, although he did come a little bit, a little close at certain times, but the contracts were annulled and that sort of thing. So it seems like he just had one love, and that was it for him. So I like that story, and I'm just really sad that she had to pass away so young. And so ends another episode of Les Filles Mariées. Marie's life was cut short due to her death at 40, but her legacy of 204 descendants as of 1729 lives on. I love the story of her and Hubert as well, because I think that it was a love story. I think that he went on and carried on without her. He never remarried. So I think that's a testament to just who they were as people. And definitely want to salute Marie and her courage and her tenacity, and we obviously bless her memory. Thank you, Marie. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters. You really are the wind beneath my wings. Each and every one of you really helps the channel grow, and obviously during periods where I'm a little stressed, I look and I read some of your comments, and they really inspire me. So thank you so very, very much for always being there. So until I see you on episode 95, until then, au revoir.